I can get this to work. Whoa. Did they change it again? Oh my god. Well, hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my most quiet and most silent opening to a live stream ever because YouTube changed their settings again. I hate it when they do this. It was literally like a week ago that they had this live streaming set up in a very particular way that it's like you start streaming on OBS and then a go live button appears within the software and then you click it to go live. Now they changed it. Now they changed it so it just goes live right away. I kind of like that. The one time I have something that I'm like, hey, this is kind of nice. They should leave it that way. They're like, you know what? Let's just change it on Drew so he doesn't realize when he's going live. And now the thumbnail won't even update. Dang it. Why do they have to keep changing it? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Q&A. The first one of August, which is always fun. It's been a while. I feel bad this channel hasn't been as active as I would like. But now you've got some more content to go for you. We can talk about whatever you want. Try to ask the tough questions, the off questions, the questions people don't always expect. YouTube is a mess. I agree. They can't stop changing things. I know, especially when there's been like several weeks now where they do it one way, where the setting is you start streaming in OBS and then you have to click another button in YouTube Studio to actually go live, which I kind of like that. It may seem redundant, but what it allows you to do is make sure that OBS is working properly and YouTube is receiving the data before you actually go public to your subscribers. So I kind of like that, you know, two-factor authentication of going live. But now I don't know. Anyway, since you're not getting a new console, would you try the streaming options like PlayStation Now or Xbox Game Pass? If they cost money, no, because currently I spend very little time gaming, and I don't really plan on changing that anytime soon. So I have to spend money to play games, then I don't think so. It's just not in my time. It's not in my schedule to make it work. Would you build a gaming PC with new Nvidia GPUs dropping soon? I don't think so. I'm not a Windows fan, so I don't think I would enjoy that. And I also don't think I would bring anything very unique or original to the subject in the first place. Yes, Mike, YouTube does hate me. That's true. How was the mountain bike ride the other day? It was good. It went well. I went mountain bike riding with my father and sister, which was fun. I used to mountain bike ride a whole lot more than I used than currently, which I'm just now getting back into it. And it sucks that just life happens and people's schedule get packed and it just kind of falls off. But I'm trying to get back into it. But the trick is school is starting back up for both my father and my sister. They're both teachers, so they're pretty busy come school time. And because of that, they're not able to ride at the times that we have been riding for the past few weeks. So I'm hoping that I can find a window where I can ride with them. So we'll see. I guess we'll find out. I have tried Nvidia GeForce Now, and it didn't work well for me. I'm not a big fan of the cloud gaming thing. I miss having mountains. Mountains are nice, Scott. I agree. What do you do when you aren't working? Not much, to be honest with you. I know most people have hobbies outside of work, but to me, work feels like a hobby because this is just how I spend my free time anyway. It had been a hobby before it was a full-time job for the longest time. Back when I was working or doing school, I would do YouTube on the side. Thankfully, thanks to you guys being supportive and being able to have more and more people watch the videos, I can turn this hobby into a job. But frankly, I just... outside of this, play tennis with my wife. We go on, little drives to go on places where we can walk, and we like checking out different scenery. We do lots of budgeting. Budgeting's always fun. And yeah, not too much. My life's not terribly interesting. If I was doing something really interesting, I'd probably be filming it and uploading it. I know some people... I saw Marquez make a tweet a while back about how, like, it's totally okay to have hobbies and activities outside of YouTube that you don't film and document. That is true. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. However, I'm the type of guy that's like, why not? To me, YouTube is like this great way of like documenting and recording things that are going on in our daily lives and save that and share it with others so they can enjoy it if they want to too. And I've been blessed with this network to the point that I can make money off of recording those experiences. But for me, it's just fun. So I wouldn't mind just documenting all that stuff anyway, just for myself. Like a lot of the times I'll just upload videos, not really even planning on having them do well, just because I want to see them someday. Because I go back sometimes and I'll watch YouTube videos I uploaded 7-8 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I barely remember that date, but there it is. Let's see. You're right on being critical with Google, same way you are with Pixels. It applies to Stadia cloud gaming. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Cloud gaming, I've for the longest time been like, I think it only works if you really have a stable, reliable, super fast internet connection. And for the most part, I have a pretty good internet, but even with my good internet, and I've tried cloud gaming on that before, it just really doesn't work that well. It's still laggy and the data's compression. The problem with internet is that it's always doing this. You know, if you had a perfect stable connection that never changed, that would be one thing, but it's not typically what happens. You have so many other devices on your Wi-Fi network that are occasionally downloading and pulling data, and that makes your bandwidth go like this. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it dips down, and that makes, you know, interactive gameplay. It's not like Netflix where you can stream a movie and it is pretty stable. With a game, it's all over the place because there's that real-time interaction. How do I organize my finance? Ooh, I love the finance questions. We basically have a big spreadsheet that keeps track of all our income and all of our monthly expenses and all our variable expenses and all our investment goals. So yeah, we got big spreadsheets and charts full of everything, essentially. I'm not getting the PS5, no. My internet is from Xfinity. It's a monopoly, so I have no other choice. I've tried, believe me, I've contacted multiple different ISPs, and this is the best one I can get. Essentially, they give us about 1,000 down and 40 up, which I don't really care about the 1,000 down. There's very few times I need to download that much stuff, but I would love more upload if possible. Sadly, 40 is the best they can get. So I'm kind of stuck with that internet. Actually, I'm lying a little bit. There was a private ISP, not really one that you can sign up for, but one that actually contacts you. A private ISP contacted me saying they could get me 10 gigabit up and down. It was like really, really fast internet. But basically, this is the type of company that runs the wires themselves, as in they will run a completely new line on the telephone poles and everything directly to your house. And they said they could do, you know, like I said, insanely fast, like over a gigabit up and down. And I was like, whoa, that's really cool. How much? And they were like, probably about $2,600 a month. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I don't need it that bad. I don't need it that badly. Starlink, we don't have accurate numbers on. There's some early private testing going on, but SpaceX has wanted the beta testers to keep that on the down low, because apparently the performance of Starlink will be very different once there's more satellites in orbit compared to right now, where they're just testing it for certain people. So, yeah, I don't want a $2,600 a month internet. I don't need it that bad. Honestly, fast upload would be really helpful for posting videos and live streaming, that kind of thing, but it wouldn't be that helpful. I mean, I can still upload 3, occasionally 4 videos a day. I can still live stream at a decent connection. I mean, it's not amazing, but I mean, I can stream at 1080p. It's fine. I'm not willing to pay that much for good internet. So yeah, we don't know the exact speeds of Starlink yet, but Elon said at peak it would be around half a gigabit on Twitter one time. And when he said that, I got really excited. But I've been following some people that claim to be private beta testers, and they're not really supposed to be talking about their speeds, but the early speed tests are not that fast. Sadly. I wish. That'd be cool. Let's see. Thoughts on the new Sony? Oh, God. I honestly, I don't have thoughts on those because I'm not an audiophile and I haven't tested them, but I genuinely think those headphones don't perform well because of how they're named. I genuinely believe that. They are so hard to recommend, and it looks like a serial number every time you hear people talk about them. Your thoughts on the new Sony WH-1000XM4? That's so hard to recommend to people, even if they're great. I'm sure they're great headphones. I bet they sound great, and they have great noise cancellation and battery life and all that crap. Even despite all that, it's just so hard to recommend compared to something like AirPods. Just say AirPods. It's so much easier that way. Yeah, just call them Sony ANC4, something simple. I agree. Let's see. I have listened to the latest Telosa Tech podcast. I realize you didn't know that. I texted Nick and Randy after the fact, but yeah, they did do a couple podcasts without me. It was a scheduling thing. I was busy all Saturday, and they were not available on Sunday or Friday. So basically, there was no way all three of us could get back together again. So we were deciding whether or not we wanted me and Nick to do one or Nick and Randy to do one. And I think the reason we decided to go with Nick and Randy do one by themselves was because Nick was still in the area. You know, he had to drive all the way from, you know, the Midwest out to California to see Randy. And he hadn't really driven all the way back yet. He was still kind of hanging out in the LA area because he has some family there. So because of that, he was like, you know what? I'm only a couple hours away from Randy. Let's just do one more in-person stream because in-person streams are fun. But as of now, I believe we should be back to normal next podcast. It'll be me, Nick, and Randy all recording remotely again over FaceTime. So that's how it should work. And I'm sorry, a lot of people were asking earlier, but I kept glossing over it. I'm not sure if I plan on doing a video about what happened to FPT, though it might be a good idea just because a lot of people, I guess, don't realize that two-factor authentication via SMS text is really dangerous, and that when you're a big channel, you're a big target, and that scammers want to go after you and that kind of thing. So it might be worth a video. I haven't decided whether or not I want to, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of very niche because it really only applies to channels with lots of subscribers, and I don't feel like there's that many popular YouTubers that watch my talks channel. But either way, I've seen lots of articles going around about it, and lots of people, general security as a whole. I was actually, I had it on my agenda to make a video about the Twitter hack, so maybe this could piggyback, and I'll just include it in that video about security and about how 2FA is not that secure in the first place. PlayStation is Sony's only successful product. Yeah, maybe that's it. You know, PlayStation's kind of easy, recognizable name, easy to remember. That's a good point. They need another name like that for their headphones. Let's see. Did they get FPT email? I'm confused how they would do that. Well, that's public. John has tweeted that out before. That's kind of well known. It's the phone number that they had to get to hack it, but we have made sure the Telosa network can't be accessed that way. Audio station. Hey, there you go. Just call it audio station for the headphones. Do you think Apple is being anti-consumer with the whole streaming game situation? I don't know if it's anti-consumer. I've been trying to follow that story, and honestly, it's getting really, really complicated because obviously a ton of people are asking me about it. For those who don't know, basically Microsoft wanted to make their own game streaming service, which is essentially like Netflix. You know, you subscribe, and then you get access to a bunch of media. With Netflix, it's movies and TV shows. With xCloud, which is Microsoft's thing, it's like a bunch of different games through that service that you can play. And they're not playing on the device, they're just streaming to the device, which when Apple started the App Store, cloud gaming like that was not really a thing. Cloud gaming is still kind of new to the gaming world and the mobile world. It's been around for a few years, I know, but I just mean like when it comes to the App Store and stuff, they haven't really set up proper guidelines in place for it. And I think people are oversimplifying the issue a little bit too much because I can kind of understand both sides of the story. I think fundamentally, though, Apple needs to update, their guidelines. They need to be more clear with what is and isn't allowed, because it feels very hypocritical right now. The fact that there's like a bunch of, remote desktop clients where you can, access a computer's desktop, or you have services like Shadow, where basically you can rent a PC somewhere that will stream the display to you, and you can access that from your phone, and from that you can, use a fully fledged Windows PC. But Apple's okay with that, but they're not okay with this xCloud thing, because it essentially allows it sets a dangerous precedent, in my opinion, of allowing alternative app stores, because I guess Apple treats games differently from movies and TV. And in my opinion, I guess I don't really agree with that. I don't really see how they need to be considered separate. But I can understand the hesitation, at least, because I don't think it's Microsoft in particular that Apple is worried about. I think they're worried about setting the standard of, okay, as long as you're streaming games to the device and they're not running on the device, then you can have basically alternative app stores. They're not worried about Microsoft in particular with xCloud. Everyone on that subject keeps saying, oh, they're worried because it'll compete with Apple Arcade. It really doesn't, though. The whole premise of Apple Arcade is there's all these games that you can't get elsewhere. Those, no in-app purchases, they don't cost money, there's no ads. All of that is within Apple Arcade. xCloud doesn't offer anything Arcade has. It just happens to be a monthly subscription to a game library. And it doesn't really make sense for Apple to cancel or not allow other game subscriptions because they have a game subscription, because in that case you should ban Netflix, Hulu, Disney, because Apple has TV Plus. So if we're just going to start banning any competing service, then Apple should ban Spotify and Amazon Music because they have Apple Music. Apple Arcade sucks. And and Apple Arcade games are also something you download. They're not streaming to your device. Yeah, I don't think that's it, yet I've seen so many people say that's the reason. They won't allow xCloud because it'll hurt Apple Arcade. It really won't, because it's an exclusive battle. It's just these games on Arcade are worth this much and are this fun versus these games on xCloud are worth this much. So I think it's just the App Store not having strict or specific enough guidelines that is the issue. I'm not saying Apple is in the right here. I'm just saying I understand the hesitation to instantly allow and approve. Oh, yeah, you want to put an alternative app store on here? Sure. Why not? Because currently Apple treats games as separate individual apps, Like Apple from the beginning was like, okay, here's iTunes. iTunes has movies and TV shows. You never really have dedicated apps. I mean, sometimes it happens, but for the most part, you don't have dedicated apps for TVs and movie shows, Most people don't download the Office app. You download Netflix because that's the platform that has The Office currently. Next year it'll be someone else. But, however, games have never really been treated that way. Games have always been kind of through the App Store and treated as whether they're directly interactive for some reason, or because I guess they're like real-time interaction with a game, and there's a lot more to most games than there are just a TV show, which is just displaying content. So if they start slipping on this rule, because there's not really any app right now available that's just like, this is an app that allows you to access lots of other apps. That's not really a thing, because Apple doesn't want people to bypass the App Store rules or revenues by having an alternative app store. So if they say it's okay for Microsoft to do it, they have to say it's okay for anyone to do it. And then you could start having third parties that aren't Microsoft making alternative app stores, but still allow people to access the very wide market that is the iOS store and the iOS user base, which is huge. So I can understand their hesitation, but yeah, I think they could come to an agreement or work on some rule or guideline that basically will allow xCloud to do what they need to do, but without setting the dangerous precedent. So yeah, I don't think it's an Arcade issue. I mean, if your argument is that xCloud competes with Apple Arcade, that means every game on the App Store competes with Arcade, because it's a way to play games without subscribing to Apple Arcade, even if they cost money. In that case, Apple should ban every game that's not on Arcade. So it's too simple of an argument, in my opinion. But I'm clearly no expert on this subject, as you guys probably have picked apart and realized I've made several mistakes in my argument as is. And I know that I'm not well-versed, I'm not well-researched which is why I'm hesitant to make a video about it, because I feel like I'll probably get a bunch of dislikes and 10 response videos explaining how wrong I am. So I'm rather just talking about it with sub-communities in Discord and Twitter right now and trying to understand the situation best I can. But if you're wondering if the Apple sheep just thinks Apple is totally in the right, I don't. I think they're making a few mistakes, but I wouldn't say they're 100% in the wrong either. I can understand the hesitation. All right, Greg, or Gerg, thank you for the super chat. He says, why do you insist on doing the Philip Defranco jump edits on your Telosa videos? I find them so spasmodically annoying that I unsubbed from Defranco. Well, I've noticed over the years some people don't like it and some people are okay with it. I personally make what I want to see. And I have seen plenty of channels, and I've interacted with plenty of videos where people don't do the jump cuts and they just talk normally for 10 minutes or 8 minutes or so. And I'm not a fan of that personally, because when it comes to YouTube, people's attention span is what you're constantly battling for. You're constantly battling that people are going to get bored of watching you and click away. So I actually know lots of people that watch YouTubers that don't do the constant jump cut thing, and they talk normally and they leave in all their pauses and they don't do much editing. I know lots of viewers that will watch those videos at 2x speed. They watch them twice as fast because they're bored. They're like, you're talking too slow. Get on with it. Get on with it. Get to the point. Get to the point. And the whole premise I had with the Telosive videos was trying to prioritize people's time. It's one of the big reasons we don't do sponsorships, so that we can just prioritize getting to the point, talking about the subject in the thumbnail, and not trying to trick you by clicking, thinking you're getting one thing and then presenting you as something else. That's why I try not to clickbait people. And the jump cuts essentially allow for there to be the least amount of time wasted possible. And I completely acknowledge, and I'm aware that not everyone likes that, but to the people who don't like that, I also have to repeat to you that not everyone likes the dead air, the breathing, the long pauses. Not everyone likes that either, because they move too slow and they lose people's attention span when you leave in just the dead air and that kind of thing. So that's why I try my best to do both. In my opinion, YouTube, which has mostly edited content, that's where people are competing for attention span. Don't lose people's interest. Try to talk as quickly as you can. Get to the point as quick as you can so people don't click away. No, I'm not canceling them. I don't watch him. I don't know how he does it. I'm just saying, to each their own. I think every creator should make what they want to see, and the audiences of YouTube will decide whether or not it is good. And if you don't like the way I make it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And I encourage you, there's many other much better channels than I out there that will probably give you well-edited, well-informed, well-researched, well-spoken videos that use way less jump cuts. But those aren't the type of videos I enjoy, so that's why I don't make them. But I try my best to give you both. That's why I like to do live streams. You know, I do the Twitch streams 2 to 3 times a week. I do these YouTube streams as well. And we do the podcast, none of which have jump cuts in them, of course. That's all live, real-time interaction. We're just chatting, and I'm giving you long-form content where I'm just interacting with you guys. So I'm trying to give you a bit of both. But the jump cuts essentially are how we get to the point quick and have less wasted time in the video, because I have to watch these things when I'm editing them, and I don't want to get bored. And when I don't have the jump cuts, they get, you know, the pacing is very slow. And in my opinion, the length of a video has very little to do with the duration and has everything to do with the pacing. Like a 10-minute Telosa video will actually go by really fast if the pacing is good. If the pacing is moving fast and we're covering different subjects and different topics very quickly, essentially, if I was just talking and I wasn't cutting anything out, you could read much faster than I could speak. So I'm kind of competing as a YouTube channel with you guys just reading an article, you know. I have biased and opinionated sides to my videos that can kind of make them more interesting, but for the most part, other journalism, you know, writers for websites and stuff like that, they can totally, they can write their own opinionated articles, and you could read them pretty quick. So basically, my mouth is racing against how fast you guys can read. So in my opinion, since there's a lot of people on YouTube using the 2x speed option, watching videos faster and faster because they want to get to the point and they have quick attention spans. Functional length versus perceived length. There you go. And also, I recall watching earlier Telosa videos that did not have that many jump cuts, where I would just leave in all the pauses and leave in all the breathing sections and all that. A 4-minute video would feel like it takes forever. 4-minute video felt way longer than a 10-minute video today, just because of the pacing. So that's just, take that as you will for your own advice for aspiring YouTubers or creators out there, is that if you leave long pauses and the pacing of your video is really slow, people are going to lose interest a lot faster than a video that's paced quickly. Getting to the point. Move on. Next subject, next topic. But thank you for the super chat. The follow-up super chat, Gerg C. Didn't say anything that time, but I appreciate it. So that's my logic with it. I've noticed it not really impact the growth of the channel, but whenever my channel goes into new demographics, people bring it up more. Like, I've been doing the tech videos with jump cuts for years now. That's not really anything new, and no one really brings it up that much. No one really says much of it anymore on the tech channel. But last year, when I introduced and launched the Telosa EV channel, and that started getting a lot of clicks and getting a lot of views, there were tons of comments bringing it up. And that's how I knew it was reaching a new market. It was reaching a new demographic, because there were all these people saying, why are there so many jump cuts? Why do you talk so fast? Oh my God, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And at the same time, a lot of people saying, wow, this is cool. I like this channel. I'm going to, keep it up. I like what you're doing. So you got kind of polar opposites, and that's how you know the channel is kind of finding its demographic, is there's all these EV channels or EV viewers that are just now discovering me, and they've never seen Telosa tech before. So they're just like, whoa, why are there all these jump cuts? They're just kind of not used to it. But the channels still grow. So they kind of find the people that are okay with it, and they lose the people that aren't okay with it. But it's really not possible to keep both, in my opinion. You would start losing people if you stopped doing the jump cuts at the same time. People would be like, it's lazy. It's not edited very well. Aiden, thank you for the super chat. If another Telosa channel, what would it be? There's really too many channels in the first place. I can't think of much I would add at this point. If I had more time in the day, I would probably want to do more vlogs and just kind of focus more on the channels that already exist, or more movie reviews and that kind of thing. But with all the copyright and DMCA takedowns I've dealt with this year, it's really discouraging me from doing movie reviews, because I feel like I can't show footage or pictures of anything. So I I don't know what other channels they could be. I can't really think. Maybe, I mean, Space is kind of already a channel, but it's not an active one, so maybe if there was to be another active channel, that would be a fun one. Let's see. I don't know why I'd be rude. I think, Yash, you got stopped from a auto detection tool because we have YouTube puts spam protection in the chat. So when you use language, I didn't hide your message, whoever you were. My secondary super chat had its text deleted. Oh, weird. Well, just say it again if you can. Let's see. Drew gonna get copyrighted for having movie posters in the back. Yeah, I feel like that could happen at any moment now. Seeing how strict and bizarre and how dated copyright law is, it's basically like, oh, no, can't do that, can't do that. You know, they get so uppity about the most basic stuff. It honestly does feel like, yeah, they could just take down your channel because you had a movie poster in your room. Yeah, that's why I treat every paycheck like it's my last. I'm prepared for all of this to come crumbling to the ground at any moment if possible. So be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. That's where we are. The beard and the jump cuts are a welcome addition to Telosa. Well, before the jump cuts, there were no views. Barely anyone was watching this. Will you review the Galaxy Buds live on Telosa Food? That's a good idea. Because the beans... The Galaxy Bean. They should have just called them beans. I don't know why they didn't just embrace that. Johnny Depp has filed a takedown on your Lone Ranger poster. hey, those are my feet. I don't want those being showed on Telosa Talks. One more copyright strike, we are going to see Drew go berserk. Honestly, they are one or two policy changes away from just shutting down half the internet. If they started letting you copyright strike channels for photos, which legally you could make the argument that you're not allowed to show a photo that's not yours, which if they did let people do that, literally, like you could take down PewDiePie, you could take down Mr. Beast, you could take down Shane you can pretty much take down everyone. I've yet to see one channel that's like free of, like, I own 100% of the photos used in my videos. Yeah, that would be a bigger, you know, not only Telosa would be in trouble, most of the internet would be in trouble at that point. If you could shut it down just for that. Is it possible to see any rant video? Yeah, you can go look them up and watch them. But if you're asking about future rant videos, I need something to come out that's not good, I guess. Because I can't just rant about nothing. I need kind of a bad product to come out. Hopefully, something stupid can come out soon and we can rant about it. Oh, yeah. There's a ton of fan art and videos. That blank background is licensed by me. You can't use it without paying me. Right, exactly. You could probably live stream your Apple event reaction on your own website. No, that gets even more complicated because, for one, I could probably live stream it with no ads, in which case I'm not making any money. So, you know, kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of doing it, but I guess it would be fun. But at the same time, it's still under Apple's jurisdiction, which means that they would start to not just issue DMC takedowns, but they would come after me directly. They would try to threaten me with a lawsuit. So I would get in just as much trouble, if not worse trouble, because it's my own platform. Whereas if I do it on Twitch, Twitch just kind of slaps me on the wrist and says, hey, don't do that again. Because Twitch is partially liable there, but that's why they're punishing me, is because they don't want to be held liable, even though I'm using their platform. So if it was my platform, yeah, I could get in just as much trouble. So there's not really a simple, easy workaround, sadly. Yeah, I think it's 100% fair use, but I got a bunch of people commenting on that video. No, Drew, because you provided an alternative way to view the content, it's not fair use. In which case, I'm like, okay, then why are reaction channels even a thing then? Reaction channels should all be taken down if we're following that logic. Make the live without showing the event so we could see the reaction. Yeah, that's the current plan. For the next iPhone event, I'm probably just going to stream my face, but you won't see the Apple event, and you'll have to watch that on a separate screen. Lucid Air is coming next month, Drew. I know you're not a fan, so it could be a nice rant/discussion for a few videos. There's nothing really to rant about. I don't, like, hate Lucid. I just don't... I'm not terribly interested because I'm more curious about EVs on the road coming out today, which is mainly what Tesla's doing and covering, like, factory production and that kind of thing. Because, I don't know, Lucid Air just seems like they're going after a very crowded, saturated market in the first place and just saying, you know, EVs can have good range and good performance and be luxurious. And I'm kind of like, yeah, we know that, you know. Lucid feels like they're telling us, they're sending a message everyone already knows. Whereas Tesla has kind of moved past that. You know, Tesla kind of established that with the Model S. You know, you can have great performance, you can have great range, you can have a luxurious vehicle that's electric. And Lucid is just kind of repeating that same message, whereas Tesla's kind of moved on to, okay, electric cars can be cheap, electric cars can be more affordable. And I know they're not the cheapest cars in the world. I get that because everyone's still like, well, it's still really expensive. Yeah, you got to appreciate how far they've come, though, guys. Like 10 years ago, you'd have to spend well over $100,000 to get an EV that could go 200 miles. Now you can spend $35,000 and get an EV that can go. It doesn't just, you don't just wake up one day and something's 90 times cheaper. But the progression is what I applaud them for, you know. Fair use is the definition of ambiguous in my book, right? Well, I've also heard that fair use is not a right. It's basically a defense mechanism. You can activate fair use in court, but there's nothing to stop companies from doing the takedowns in the moment. Drew should copyright claim himself for showing his own face. That's a good idea. I'll copyright claim myself, then no one else can claim it. Haha. Let's see. Soulrack Super Chat, it says you should make a channel for blind people like us where on live you can try accessibility features. I would like to. I don't really know what I can do for you there because, again, most of my content is around the visual, and we do podcasts, and I guess with live streams like this you can listen in, but I don't really know of much accessibility features I can implement because YouTube only has so much. Other than just, providing audio, that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I don't know what other accessibility features we can try because it basically all have to be on YouTube's end. There's really not much I can try, but I appreciate the super chat. I'm sorry I don't have more of a direct answer or solution. Because Alexander, you can still get a takedown. You can get the takedown while the stream is happening. It doesn't solve the problem to just delete the live stream after the fact because they can still see that you streamed it. Also, you deleting it on your end doesn't necessarily mean Twitch doesn't see that or Twitch doesn't detect that. Yeah, and like Scott has said, they can issue takedowns while the stream is happening. And again, like I said before, Twitch does not let copyright strikes expire. I got the one strike for the Apple event. It's not going away. It'll never go away. It's stuck with my channel for life, which means that if I get 2 more strikes, I'm permanently banned from the platform. I can't even make an alternative account and come back. So that's why I'm not messing around. I'm not going to play chances. I'm not going to experiment and try something else. I'm just like, okay, isn't going to work. Not going to try it again because I can't risk it. They can still claim you for 30 days, I believe, and even if you take it down. Yes, they can. And it didn't take Apple 30 days to issue the strike, so it's not a fair system because independent creators can't afford teams of lawyers, and corporate channels have virtually infinite resources. I know, it's very dated. The laws are dated in the first place, which is kind of the problem. So, yeah, I don't really have a great solution because even YouTube and Twitch can't really change the laws that quickly. And, how long it takes to submit a, law-changing request and get that passed by the government. It's so complicated. Copyright laws are incredibly dated and not built for the internet where anybody can upload something and get millions of views. Well, yeah, basically the internet and platforms have moved a lot faster than copyright law can. Because laws in general, especially in the U.S., are kind of designed to be hard to change, and they're supposed to be slow to change because, to a certain extent it makes sense. You don't want the government to be able to change the law really, really quickly and fast. So I get that, but at the same time, it's becoming such a common issue now that I'm not going to try to mess around with it. I'm not going to poke the dragon with it. Let's see. I'm fine with Drew streaming his face and watching it on his device while we all watch on our other devices. Just have a link in the description / on screen for people to easily join the stream. Yeah, I think that could. I think that could work. I saw a lot of people saying that they typically don't watch my reaction, but they will now because they want to watch the Apple event on their own screen, and if they can have me on their phone or something off to the side, then that might be easier for them. So who knows? I haven't tried it yet. We're going to try it with the iPhone event whenever that ends up happening. Could be next month. We'll see how it does. It might. I'm expecting it to do terribly because I feel like most people who watch those are expecting to watch the Apple event at the same time. And there's also going to be a stream delay, so my reaction won't be perfectly synced up unless you pause the Apple event for like 15 seconds and hit play again. So I'm going to expect it to flop, but who knows? Maybe it'll do much better. We'll see. Or the same. That would be great too. Basically with trademarks, if you don't defend them, you lose them. So Apple has to sue everything remotely similar or risk losing the logo. Oh, jeez. What a mess. Well, yeah, I'll still do the recap, obviously. That's not changing. This doesn't get affected by that. Could Sam from iUpdate copyright my videos because I use his intro sound? I need to know. I don't know. I would ask him about that because I don't know in particular if he came up with that sound. It's possible Sam is using that sound from something else. If you want my personal advice, I would say probably don't use intro sounds or other audio forms from other people if you can. I don't think Sam is going to sue you. I don't think he's going to copyright claim you, for the record. It's a short enough sound. It's not very long, and Sam is a nice guy, and I don't think he'd be threatened by that. So I don't think you're going to get in trouble with Sam, but still, I wouldn't download other people's music or audio and start using it as mine, unless of course it's royalty free, which is what, music for Telosa has been in the past. I haven't always been like the original artist. Now we're using Randy's music for the tech videos, but the EV videos and the talks vlogs and the tech videos before Randy, those were just royalty-free audio that you can download online. Let's see. I asked this on Greg's Gadget streams the other day, McDonald's or Wendy's, and why not? Man. My wife doesn't like McDonald's, so we don't go there very much, but I am a real big fan of McDonald's. And before you all forget, but like, man, Drew's wife is holding him back. Yeah, she's holding me back from eating unhealthy. I know. What a terrible relationship. No. So I like McDonald's a lot, but Wendy's has some really good value stuff. I like their 4 for $4s. My wife is okay with eating at Wendy's, and we've gone there a few times. So that's a decent value, but something about the McDonald's burgers have some kind of different flavor, and their fries are just so good. I think I would have to choose McDonald's over Wendy's. I like Wendy's, but their burgers just taste, I don't know. What's the crap they put in there? Pink slime. The pink slime they put in McDonald's. That stuff is just so good. I know it's not made of real meat, and it's disgusting, but man, it's amazing. Let's see. Where's the event? Trial run with Lucid if you want some practice. Sorry, I'm plugging Lucid so much. That's okay. I'm all in favor of there being more EV companies. Nothing about Lucid just seems like generic, another electric car company. I work there, so I picked McDonald's. Oh, okay. You're biased. That's fair. Let's see. Yeah. I have been hearing about the riots. That's not good. But the reason the rioting is also not good. Rough Rider Show Super Chat. It says, change your mind on doing some SpaceX streams? The issue is I can't do them very consistently because half the time they do SpaceX launches, they scrub the launches. And a lot of the time that they do the launches, I'm not working. I'm off hours because... If you guys don't know, I try to model my work schedule very similarly off my wife because I enjoy spending time with her, and because I'm my own boss and I'm employing myself. I'm not the kind of guy that's like, my wife is off work and she wants to hang out with me, and I'm like, stay out of my office, honey. I want to watch the Falcon rocket straight. No, I want to spend time with her, And a lot of the time, I think like the last SpaceX launch, wasn't it like 10 o'clock at night? So I have to set up all my live streaming equipment, and I've also seen several space channels get copyright takedowns for reacting to those streams because of how broken the YouTube system is, that they will let random nobodies start blocking or copyright claiming other channels reacting to public, royalty-free footage. But YouTube doesn't know it's royalty-free. They just say, hey, this channel uploaded it first, so therefore that channel can take down all these other channels. So again, I'm just not playing that game. I'm not going to risk it. I literally have gotten 3 copyright strikes this year. Thankfully on separate platforms, so it didn't result in anything getting terminated, but I know the system's BS. I know it's not fair. I know it's messed up, but I can complain all I want. If they end up taking down my whole account, it doesn't really matter how right I am. It doesn't matter if the law is wrong. It doesn't matter if the system is broken. That means I lost my channels, and I don't want to do that. Why don't I stream it with my wife? Because she doesn't like showing up on camera. And the last one, again, is like 10 o'clock at night. We're like going to bed. We're like laying in bed on our phones watching the stream. Okay, there it is. All right, they landed the rocket. Cool. And then I exit the YouTube app, and I go to bed because it's late. So... yeah, I can't see much added benefit of reacting to the streams. I'm sorry. I know you guys keep asking for it. I think you guys are imagining it to be way more interesting than it really would be. Me just watching a rocket take off really is not that exciting. I assure you. Excuse me. Let's see. Prime Directive. Oh, this is a great quote. The whole point of this country is that if you want to eat garbage, balloon up to 600 pounds, and die of a heart attack at 43, you can. You are free to do so. And to me, that's beautiful. Ron Swanson. Drew gets up at like 4 a.m. He's crazy. Not so much anymore. I used to when my wife had to leave the house that early to get to work, but now she's working remotely, so we get to sleep in a lot more. So now we're getting up more around 5 or 6. Not that crazy. But, honey, no, I can't spend time with you now. Google is thinking about a foldable. This is the worst thing ever combined. Yeah, exactly. Why can't YouTube have a review period for videos which would protect creators from a strike? I don't know. I think it's some DMCA law that they have to take it down immediately. There's not supposed to be a warning period of some kind, but I don't know. I'm not planning on getting rid of the iMac Pro soon, no, because I'm basically waiting until the Apple Silicon iMac comes out, and most recently, it sounds like, this could be wrong, but Quo is saying that the first Apple Silicon iMac is going to be the smaller iMac, not the big one. It's going to be a 24-inch iMac that'll come out with the iPad Pro design language and everything, and that'll come out at the end of this year, and then later on, they'll do the, like, big one, the 30-inch one that's all in one, you know, Apple Silicon based. And I don't think I really want the I don't think I want the 24-inch one. I mean, I might get it to review just because it sounds cool and I'm excited for an updated design, but 27 inches is about what I'm comfortable with, and I don't want to go with a smaller one. So if that one even comes out, I'll probably have to wait for the bigger one, which means I'm going to be keeping the iMac Pro around for a while. They should make YouTube too, but without the copyright stuff. Yeah, sadly, YouTube is dated because of how copyright laws are dated. But yeah, it's not all on the copyright law. There is still a bunch of problems that YouTube has in place in the first. It's not, you know, I know a lot of people told me to go watch the, what's his name? The guy who did the video about why YouTube is not flawed, the copyright system is. YouTube's system isn't broken. It is broken. The laws are dated and YouTube is broken, because I know that YouTube is just trying to enforce these old copyright laws, but the fact is they still allow people onto the platform that can download royalty-free video or get access to public video that everyone's available to access, and then claim that as their own and then strike people for using it. That still happens all the time and every day, and that's not a copyright problem, that's a YouTube problem for sure. Let's see. Just transfer your content to TikTok, problem solved. That's a good idea. I think TikTok's going to be sticking around a long time, don't you? Oh, my God. Do I like paper clips? Yeah, it's a solid product. Very simple, easy to play around with, holds paper together. That's a good question. Thank you, Mike. How do you see yourself in 10 years? Man. You know what I honestly wonder in the long term? I wonder if there's going to be some type of cataclysmic event, because after what happened to John in Front Page Tech, where the whole channel just gets taken over and deleted, and the copyright strikes, and how bumpy copyright law is, and how YouTube will suddenly just enact some new policy that destroys this whole sub-community, I honestly wonder if I will be doing this in 10 years, or if something else will come up. Or that's honestly why me and my wife are being so cautious with, you know, treating every dollar like it's our last, and being extra careful with, like, making sure our house is paid off and making sure we don't have any debt and that we can still pay our bills even if we didn't have YouTube. We're preparing for some type of cataclysmic event, essentially. We're prepping for everything to fall apart at any moment. So I feel like 10 years from now something could happen where YouTube falls apart via some policy, via some copyright, or we get hacked, or some backdoor hacked. Right now I'm a full-time YouTuber, yeah. But I feel like it's almost likely something will change in the next 10 years to the point that I won't be doing this that far from now. If it does, I'll be actually pleasantly surprised, because I like YouTube. I like the there's a lot I dock it for, and there's a lot of things and issues I have with it. But for the most part, just the idea of being able to edit and post content and have people be able to watch it is pretty great. And I love the interaction, and I love the fact that there's so many communities of different genres and people interacting from that, and the people I've met through YouTube now is amazing. I kind of love that interaction, and I would hate to see it go, but with how bumpy things have been, I wouldn't be shocked if that happened, to be honest. And then I'll have to move to some other platform. I'll become like a full-time Twitch streamer, or I'll become an IGTV creator, some crap like that. I don't know. Let's see. Why don't you put your videos on your own website? Well, it's a lot more complicated than you'd think. Hosting and advertising and getting CPMs to work well and getting a server to work well. All that stuff costs money. And frankly, it's still pretty much more cost effective to do it through YouTube, which costs nothing. You can upload 8K 60 FPS video for 10 hours as much as you want, and YouTube won't charge for it. And you can't do that with your own website. If you want to upload content regularly to your own website, you have to pay for server space, and you have to pay for a domain name, and you have to pay for someone to maintain those servers when they get higher traffic, and you have to develop a platform for advertisers to put ads on there. It's very, very difficult to make your own platform that can compete with YouTube monetization. It's just so dang simple. It's so dang simple to create an account, upload videos, have it get views, because there's way more people on YouTube. If you started your own website, there would be far less people there because they're not going to be checking it as much as people are checking YouTube. It just makes sense from a logistical standpoint to keep all of that content together, because that's where people are. That's where people are watching content and being recommended new content. Whereas if you started your own website, doesn't even matter if your content's good. No one's going to know it's there unless you pay for advertising, which I don't have to worry about on YouTube. So, yeah, it's a tough one. What is the next big technology for you? I feel like we're seeing the most big changes in the auto industry. I think the next 10 years aren't going to be that interesting for smartphones. I think you're mainly just going to see more of the same. You're going to see better cameras, thinner phones, better displays, thinner bezels, better cameras. It's just going to be a lot more of the same. And cars, however, I think are going to change a lot over the next 10 years. Tesla's kind of pioneering this whole EV revolution, which is why I love talking about them so much. That's why we have the whole dedicated EV channels, because I feel like there's going to be, in the long term, much more to see, much more to talk about over the next decade with EVs. I'm preparing for the internet apocalypse, not so much a world apocalypse. I think the world will be fine in the next 10 years. I know we joke about the world ending in 2020, but for the most part, I think we'll still go to the grocery store. We'll still drive around. We'll still have movies. We'll still have the internet. And we'll still complain about politics 10 years from now. I think a lot of that won't change. But just making sure financially we'll be okay in the event of YouTube changing policies or channels getting hacked, that kind of thing. That I'm not counting on staying the same. But if it does, cool. Maybe Apple will start their own YouTube. Yeah, I wish. That would be cool, though. Transportation in general takes a better eco-friendly route, especially in third world countries. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think battery technology is getting good and scaling production is getting good. So the only difference is we can all say, remember 10 years ago? That's true. Augmented reality could be big. That could be big and fun. It just kind of depends on how good the hardware is, which it doesn't seem to be very good right now. So it might take a long time before it's actually mainstream and cool, but I still think the EV space will be more interesting. No extremely strong but flexible glass phones. I don't think so. I'm still seeing that being a small niche of the market that's never going to be a competitor. Let's see. My favorite non-tech product. Oof. Aren't all products in a way a form of technology? Like a wheel is technically technology to a certain extent. I don't know. What do you just mean? You mean like non-screen? Like it's not made by Apple and it doesn't have a processor or electronics in it? I don't know. Toilet paper. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's arguably technology. That's a good choice, though. I've always thought the toilet in general was kind of impressive. The fact that you have that whole mechanism of flushing and refilling, and it uses no electricity. That's done completely just through water pressure and levels and drainage. Like a toilet does not use power. Isn't that kind of weird with how much goes on with a toilet after you do your business and you press flush and everything? I've always find that kind of interesting. It doesn't need electricity to do all that. I don't know. Microwaves kind of seem like technology. I mean, they're using I like how we call them microwaves because that's literally what they do. They emit microwaves. Telosive toilets, right? Let's see. Last time I was really excited for smartphones were 2017. In my opinion, this is where smartphones peaked. Yeah, I think they've pretty much peaked. iPhone 12 is somewhat major because it's a redesign and there's new form factors, but I got to tell you guys, I have no clue how we're going to talk about iPhones for another year with the 2021 lineup. That lineup sounds so boring. Ugh. I've never visited Europe, but I would like to. We have some friends there. My wife has been to Europe a few times. She has some friends in Ireland and England and in Germany that we want to go see next year, but it's hard to tell. I hope the pandemic is kind of scaled back and hopefully it's safer to travel next year. But if it does get safer to fly and go to airports and things like that, yeah, we would love to see Europe because I've never seen it, but I think that'd be fun. There's so many places there to check out. Eventually, yes, I think Apple will announce Apple Glass. I just don't think it's this year, and I honestly don't even think it's next year. Come visit Texas. Always welcome here. I would like to. It's just we need I would have a harder time driving there. You know, we got to visit Randy because that was within like a day's driving distance, but Texas, that would be quite the drive, and I don't feel like going to an airport right now. Let's see. I think Apple YouTube version would be great as they have wealthy customers and advertisers, and monetization would be amazing. It would be great for us, but it wouldn't be necessarily great for Apple because Google has for years now tried to make YouTube profitable, and it really hasn't been that profitable. They have not made much money off of YouTube. There's been countless liability problems and countless monetization problems with advertisers pulling out and creators getting mad and people. It's not really that easy of a site to maintain, so there's not really much incentive for Apple to do it. They really wouldn't make much money off of it in the first place. So it would be great for us, but probably not great for Apple. Yeah, redesigns don't make you change the way you use your phone, and there's not going to be a big change to the iPhone that's going to make you use your phone differently for a long time. Favorite Christmas gift? Is it selfish to say cash? Honestly, like a lot of the time, you like just when you're a kid, when you're getting money from relatives or something, you open a card and there's $20 inside. You're like, whoa! You know, that's always the most exciting thing. Other gifts are nice too, though. I guess when you get older, you probably care less about that and you just want something more thoughtful. What I kind of like is gift cards because we kind of budget for food right now a lot. So we're like, okay, we don't want to spend more than this on food. But if we get a gift card to a certain restaurant, it's like, okay, that's not in the food budget, you know? Told all my relatives just to give me money for Christmas. Oh, God. Cash followed by Apple Store gift cards. Cash can't disappoint, yo. You'd think that. Giving gifts is better than receiving. They're both pretty great, though, you got to admit. Imagine if on your birthday you just had to give gifts to everyone and you didn't get anything. That sounds worse to you, doesn't it? That proves my point. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of cases pretty much everywhere. But if Elon gives you $1,000 to get Neuralink implanted, would you be up for it? I don't know. I don't think so. That Neuralink stuff scares me. I feel like that's going to be, you know how over the years there's always like new technology that youth adopts and the youth are comfortable with, but then there's also a bunch of like older people that aren't into it. Kind of like how right now we have a lot of people with, AirPods and watches and smartphones, and more elderly generation is kind of like, I don't really need to be connected all that much. I don't need all that wireless stuff on me all the time. It's just too connected, too much information being on me at the same time. But the kids are really into it, kind of thing. I feel like what that'll be for me, because I'm into AirPods and watches and phones and social media and being plugged in. I'm into all that. But I'm guessing that the next generation of youth is going to be like really on board and comfortable with the implants, the technology implants. And they're going to be like, oh no, Grandpa, it's so fun. It's cool. You get the surgery real quick in your brain, and then you can think better. You can remember things faster, and you can have, access to the World Wide Web just built into your brain, which I've heard Elon talk about what the neural net and Neuralink could allow for, and it just creeps me out because it's not the idea of what hurts my brain about it, no pun intended. Like, what bothers me about it is they're saying it won't be like a visual. It won't be like Google search just appears in your vision and you click it and you can type in free space. No, they're saying Neuralink getting in your brain means that you won't have to search the web to find that information. You will just know it. So when someone asks you, what was the 8th president of the United States and what was his middle name and who was he married to and how many kids did he have, you don't think in your head, okay, go to google.com, look that up, here's the article, here's where it says it. You will just know it. It'll just be part of your memory now. It's just built into your knowledge base. And once I heard him start talking about that, I was just like, I feel like the overwhelming knowledge you would have if you put all of mankind's written history as access to your instant memory that you can just pull up the same way you can remember what your dad's name is, or the same way you can remember when your birthday is. You can now just know facts and that kind of thing. That's scary to me. I don't want to have that much knowledge and information plugged into my brain. And also, I've dealt with enough developer betas and I've dealt with enough software glitches that I don't want that getting near my brain. I'm okay with there being a lag there. I'm okay with there being a separation. It's very easy to unplug. I like being plugged in. I like having my watch and my AirPods and using the internet. But the thing is, I still have the choice. I still have the freedom to let everything go if I want to. I can leave my watch at home. I can unplug my AirPods and everything. And you couldn't just easily remove a chip from your brain, though. That's kind of stuck with you. There's some people with mental disabilities or brain issues that lead to them having severe disabilities. And I can understand those people being more interested in the implants, and Elon's alluded to that, like Parkinson's disease being able to be fixed via Neuralink, or dementia being fixed, people with, issues with the brain being able to combat that with a chip. I can understand that approach in people being interested because, there's some stories I've seen with people just because of brain diseases they have, and they're just in pure suffering, and they hate that their brain works that way, and they hate that they're stuck like that and they can't really fix it, that they would pretty much try anything to see if they could get around it or find a way to cure it. So I can get that, but when it comes to not just helping people who have issues and it comes to just expanding what the human brain is capable of, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Makes me nervous. I definitely would not be the first person to do it. Maybe I would change my mind if I saw huge numbers of people doing it and it was successful to the point that you started feeling like an idiot just because you didn't have it. Maybe that, even then though, I would be hesitant. I don't know. Just peer pressure alone I don't think would make me comfortable with it. Neuralink could encourage much more instant gratification than currently. Yeah, because the brain is really how we experience everything. I mean, Elon talked about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's basically you're just a. How do we all know we're not just a brain in a vat being fed chemicals and energy that we perceive as reality? How do we know we're not in a simulation that's just a bunch of chemicals feeding into the brain and simulated imagery. How do we know that's not what we are? The truth is that is what we are. We're a brain in a skull that's taking all of this imagery, that's taking all of, the things we're hearing and seeing around us and building it into reality. And that's how we perceive it. And if you start tapping into that, you can basically just make anything real, anything possible. Yeah. I don't know. Seems messy. Seems crazy. You think it's bad everything you post on the internet is there for forever. Imagine everything you think being on the internet forever. Yeah, that would worry me. You can get brain implants that let you control drones. It's kind of cool. I feel like I would still crash it. I would still crash the drone. There's a physical barrier now. Yes, Grant, exactly. Do you miss the good old hot green room? No, I don't. That attic sucked. It was hot in there. I bumped my head on the walls all the time, and there was very little privacy, and it took forever. It was like that old house that I used to live in. The door was here. You had to walk to the opposite end of the house to get to the stairs, and then you had to walk up the stairs and then go to the opposite end of the house to get to the attic. So it was a very, very cumbersome and tedious task to get into that room. I had to walk through every single room of the house to get there. And again, the AC and the swamp coolers never reached that room very well, so it was always hot in there. It was crammed. I didn't enjoy it. So I'm very happy to be out of there. I know some people are like, oh, those were the days, but y'all didn't have to live there. Anyone who used to actually visit me in that room can attest that it was not a great place to hang out in. Knowing literally every single thing in recorded history would definitely be stressful, but that's the thing. You could combat that. If you have access to the brain and you can feed it certain energy or information, you could turn off stress, basically. And you could figure out what makes people happy, whether there's dopamine or endorphin rushes, and basically just juice that up. Just make yourself happy with a switch, with a signal. But then you would become, I think, very dependent, like a drug addict, on those signals. I feel like the ideal chip isn't something that interfaces with your memory, but with your sight, so it's just like built-in AR glasses. I feel like that wouldn't have to work with your brain, though. I feel like that would be more of an eye visual thing. More of a contact lens that you put on, more so than something that taps into your brain. What's the one word you would describe 2020? Oof. That's a good one. Big oof. You know, it's crazy that 2020 globally has been quite a train wreck, but on a personal level, it's been pretty game-changing for me. And I don't mean that to sound selfish. I just mean that the world very much seems on fire, like there's new issues and there's new problems going on at every moment. But at the same time, this is the year we don't have to pay rent. There's no mortgage. There's no debt. We've never been safer financially. We've never been more secure financially. I also got psoriasis taken away, which I know it may not feel like a big deal because you guys just tune into my videos or streams once or so a day for a few minutes or an hour. And you're just like, oh, yeah, he doesn't have the red patchiness on his head anymore, whatever. But for someone who had to deal with that constantly, for someone who, whether I was filming, live streaming, sitting on the couch, sleeping, always having an itchy scalp, always having flakes come off my head, always having that stuff and the patchiness grow across my face, I still am so grateful for it every day that it's gone now and that there's this medicine that I can take that has gotten rid of it. For you guys, it's just a visual change, but for me, it's been, I just feel like so much happier. I just feel so replenished now to not have to worry about that and actually look at my hands and be like, they look normal. Because I literally wasn't able to do that for like 5 years straight. My hands always had scaly, patchy skin falling off and everything. And I just had to live with that, always. Or the flakes falling off my head and collecting on my shirt. And I always had to do this to get them to fall off. And the comments about it, people asking about it. And to finally have that gone is just so, it's hard to describe how satisfying it is, but it feels amazing. And 2020 is the first year for that to actually, I can't really recall the last year I had just normal skin. I think it was 2014 or 2015. It was a long time ago. Barely, I was definitely not out of high school back then. And the fact that I've just had to be dealing with it with all these years it was stressful. It was kind of annoying and frustrating. So to finally be done with that has just made 2020, again, on a global scale, horrible for what's happening in the world. But on a personal level, it's been great. It's been fantastic, Me and my wife were really not expecting to pay off our house this year. It was kind of a last-minute goal we had that we were like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's make this happen. Let's get it. So that was a big milestone we didn't expect to achieve, and we're really happy about that. So yeah, I'm happy with 2020 with my own personal social circle. I kind of live in a very rural, low populated area, so COVID hasn't really changed that much around here because, again, me and my wife work from home anyway. And I'll be honest, I'll give credit. When we went grocery shopping a couple days ago, every single person in the store wore a mask. I don't know, it's very easy for us to see certain parts of Twitter and people online. Oh, no one's wearing a mask, or there's all these anti-maskers and that kind of thing. And I'm like, that's just so stupid. You go on the internet and you see how stupid people are and you kind of lose faith in humanity. But we went to the grocery store and we're just like, hey, everyone's doing it. Everyone's actually following the rules. I'm like, I'm proud of us, humanity. Me and my little local area. I'm like, I'm proud of everybody. Everybody's doing their part, keeping their masks on, keeping social distancing. So I saw that and I was just like, that's great. Let's keep it up, people. Let's keep doing this. I'm glad to see other people following that. Thank you, Mike, for the super chat for saying I look good. That wasn't the argument I was going for, but thank you anyway. Have I lost anyone this year? I don't think so. I know of people who lost people, but I didn't know them personally. There's been a lot of people who I'm sure have passed away this year, but no one I know on a personal level, which I guess I'm thankful for. We haven't lost anyone to the pandemic. My grandma, who is 93, 94 now, I think. The one from the most viewed video on this channel where we drove around the Model 3 with her. She's doing okay. She's getting by. She's still kicking. And I'm happy for that because she's awesome and I love chatting with her. And it sucks that during the pandemic we haven't really been able to see her that much, but still I'm glad she's okay. Thank you, Chris Norton, for the super chat. That's very generous of you. He says, glad you're happy. I'm glad I am too. It's a good time. Good time to be alive. Apart from the pandemic, hopefully that can eventually go away, but I haven't lost anyone this year. That's good. How did I choose my current career? I think somewhere along my childhood, I became interested in film, and I decided I wanted to make movies, so I started buying cameras and started editing stuff, and I had always been kind of a YouTube fan ever since the beginning. I'd been watching YouTube videos, and I kind of liked the idea of being your own boss and making your own content and getting paid for it and just being a channel. So I just, took it from there. Just started making videos, seeing which ones worked, which ones didn't work, and now I prioritize the ones that work and made a career out of it. So I enjoy it. Oh, Kamatopi super chat is, what's going on with Tcu Phase Two? I don't know if you saw it anywhere. It's canceled. It's not happening. I'll set the record straight for those who don't know. Basically, we had some plans. They didn't really formulate into anything. It's not happening. We're moving on. I worked really, really hard on the first phase of the TCU, and the views of it were just and the amount of time and energy we put into it for the amount of payoff there is very small. So it's just we're moving on to other projects. So sorry, that project's canceled. Not happening. But I got to get going, folks. Glad your grandma's doing well. Hopefully she can enjoy your Tesla one day. Yeah, I hope so. That'd be a good goal. God bless my grandma. Thank you, Grant. Ooh, Grant says he works at a local amusement park and only 15% of people are wearing the mask. Ooh, that's not good. Hope that changes. But thank you all for your super chats. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go work on a vlog now. Hopefully you can see that later on. But thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.